But the teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the deep and mossy creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. Live from Forest Tower Studios, brought to you by the Fringe FM and KTOK Digital Broadcasting. This is Lighting the Void. And now, your host, Joe Rupe.
Broadcasting all the way from Cane Creek, Arkansas, in the Forest Tower Studios of Cane Creek. I'm freaking out, man. I'm Joe Rupe, and this is Lighting the Void. Voices for verity in this crazy realm of polarity. Good evening. It is Tuesday, May the 22nd, and the night is perfect here as the sky is perfect. Again, another perfect night in the natural state. So fire up your chakras, sync both hemispheres of your brain together, and shoot your magical beam of light through your third eye tonight with us as we peer into the void. We are live on lightingthevoid.com, KTOK Digital Broadcasting, thefringe.fm, TalkStream Live, TuneIn, iTunes Radio, all those wonderful places. And I got to say, it's been a nightmare to get the show started, but I'm happy to be back with you guys. I really am. It's Tuesday. I look forward to every single Tuesday because Lighting the Void is my favorite thing to do. The TalkStream Live number, if your internet goes down, which you might want to keep that handy, some weird energies going on out there, is 701-719-3971. Tonight we're going to be speaking with spirit guide and counselor, hard-hitting truth guru, in my opinion. That's my opinion about this guy, Tobias Lars. Haven't talked to him since November. And so it's going to be a really cool show. I can promise you that. If you missed Saturday night, I actually talked to Greg Doyle. We did a 3-hour session about astral travel and went through all of his journeys and experiences with that. And that was an epic show. A lot of people went back and re-listened, I heard. So pretty cool stuff there. I want to say, too, that a lot of people have signed up to the newsletter last week. And a few more people have even helped support the show and the network and donated and things of that nature. And it's really been cool. I mean, it really is. And people are doing whatever they can. That's the cool thing about it. I don't expect you to donate, especially if you can't. But if you want to support my work, you can do it in any way possible. So I have no show notes tonight. I have nothing because I started a Windows update 3 hours ago, figuring that it would update because I like to keep things updated because I want everything to run smoothly because I don't want stuff to break, right? Well, it just now, I'm talking about at 1 minute before the hour, the computer turned on. So I literally, when the show started, that silence you heard, that's exactly what that was my computer booting up. So I've got no notes. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. I usually jot down all the topics and stuff I want to talk about, but I can wing it. I think I can wing it. So yeah, tonight's going to be Tobias Lars. Tomorrow night we're going to be speaking with Sean Forker and Butch Witkowski from The Existence of Strange Things. Yeah, they do a show on Radio Memphis. They're going to be doing a show on the Fringe FM as well, and it's going to be. It's going to be pretty cool. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I know you guys hear that too, right? Next week, we're going to have on Micah Hanks. Micah Hanks is coming back to the show. And the other night, I'm not sure who's going to fill that one because I've got two in mind. Speaking of which, if you want to sign up to the newsletter, you just put your name and email in there and you become a Void Walker. And I've been doing special programs like Special Subscriber. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to do that. But I've been doing special shows for those guys, some stuff that's really been on my mind of late. And the chat room has just been growing. So if you go to lightingthevoid.com/chat, you can jump in there. And I kind of learned all this from the Grimerica crew, because I was going in all these chat rooms on Discord, and it's so much fun because it's not just like it shows your picture and you can chat and stuff and you're done, you know. Pop dropping lock it, David J says. That's funny. But we can post videos, share links. There's bots in there. Sometimes we play the radio station in there. And it's really the Fringe FM chat room. So, but you can go to the chat link on the Fringe FM, lightingthevoid.com/chat. Anybody can sign up. And it's fun. We've been having a lot of fun. It runs 24 hours. We kind of say what we want in there, you know. So when you join, if you join that chat room, it's just much your room as it is ours. We got a whole bunch of moderators in there, so nobody's going to be able to, you know, do stuff they're not supposed to or anything. They may attempt it a couple times, but it won't happen. Also want to mention that David J has a blog post on the Fringe FM. You guys should check that out. He's really getting into this dream thing, and it's cool because there is a dreams chat room in there too, and he is kind of taking that over a little bit. So, Jeff, I know you sent me all kinds of cool stuff as far as news and stuff. Something about robots. I wish you could call in. You ought to call in, Jeff, to the phone line and just tell me about it, because I usually write down what Jeff tells me. But yeah, he sent me some really crazy stuff. Something about robots growing organs. Something of that nature. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. You guys know that I love it when artificial intelligence is doing exactly what I think it's going to do, which is scare the living hell out of me. Let's see what he's got. The first one he has is robots can grow organs, I think. Unless I'm reading this wrong. Robots can now grow human organs. So it's pretty much, if you've watched all the videos, there's nothing that robots can't do. They can do our jobs, get periods now, and grow human organs. But scientists at the University of Washington School of Medicine have developed an automated system that uses robots to produce human mini organs from stem cells. Now, this is according to Science Daily. The ability to mass produce organoids, is what they're calling them, promises to expand the use of many organs in basic research and drug discovery. This is a new secret weapon in our fight against disease. So this is, how are they using this for a fight against disease? The university says, this is what they're telling the magazine anyways, but they say before they could grow cells for biomedical research by culturing them into flat sheets. But these were too simplistic, to truly mimic the true way cells behaved. So more recently, researchers have had some success growing these cells into more complex and three-dimensional structures called mini organs. Is this not the creepiest crap you've ever heard? They love this stuff, but this stuff freaks me out. Just like the Terminator. I'm telling you guys, this new development, however, allows them to produce the organoids at a rapid pace. They're growing organs in robots. But just because they're saying this, I mean, could this be fake news maybe? This can't be real. I need to look into the Fringe FM chat room to make sure I'm reading this right. I don't even know if I want to talk. China's launching a satellite to explore the dark side of the moon. Nah, that one's not too good. So apparently last week my son was one of the people that actually heard Yanni, and he swears up and down that he's hearing Yanni. But I think everybody that's hearing Yanni is lying. It's going to be some kind of test where they never really played Yanni. They just wanted to find all the liars. And then they're going to expose it in a few weeks and say, well, we never really played Yanni. We just wanted to see who were lying. I don't know, because there's no way you're hearing Yanni. Me and my son got an argument after that show about that. But scientists are hunting for DNA. I said scientists to hunt for DNA traces of the Loch Ness Monster. This sounds like another huge epic fail. I mean, I'm all for cryptozoology. We're going to talk about that tomorrow night. But, you know, they did this with Bigfoot, too. They did the DNA testing on that with that huge trove of an alleged Bigfoot, or also known as Sasquatch, maybe a Yeti, the abdominal snowman, the hair. You remember that? And all that stuff turned up to be bear hair, yaks, common hairs of animals. Look, I'm not saying cryptos don't exist. I'm fascinated by this stuff. It's just, in my opinion, cryptozoology, it's like one of the least likely things for me. It's the biggest doubt I have. I'll put it that way. And if someone says they saw a Bigfoot, well, you know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I think it's real. I mean, I think there's something to it. I think there's things out there. But then again, what I'm just trying to tell you, abdominal snowman. Now, I didn't say abdominal, did I? But the biggest thing is, the biggest doubt I have in my mind is cryptozoology, Mothman, Dogman, Bigfoot, whatever monster, Loch Ness, all the stuff that comes out of these lakes, everything that people say they see. I mean, how do we know that people aren't just seeing this stuff in their mind, in their brains? So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of news for you tonight. I'm really just flying by the seat of my pants tonight, but we'll fix that. Because I want to do Tobias some justice. I did. I said abdominal snowman. Well, that was a faux pas. But, hey, speaking of which, I had someone the other night in a Zoom room, Jerry Cthulhu, make fun of me because I said supposed to be. I said supposed to be, something wrong. So here's the thing. Most of you know by now that if you're a grammar Nazi, or if you're a member of the grammar police, that this isn't your show. In fact, I know there are some guests that won't come on this show that even I highly respect because of the way I sound, because of the way I talk. My grammar isn't the best. You should see my blog post. If I can't copy and paste it and I have to write it myself, it's pretty bad. I'm not a very good writer. However, I'm not stupid, though. By no means. Tim Doyle gave me a huge shout out on Spaced Out Radio last night, and that's hard to do because Tim Doyle is a natural skeptic of everyone and everybody's research. I was so stoked when I heard that. Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers. I almost want to gloat about it, you know. I've been playing it and listening to it just to make me feel better. It makes me feel better. I think it's okay to gloat every now and then, don't you? Let's do that. Let's gloat. You want to? Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers, everybody. Let's gloat just a little bit.
And have them be believable in this community. I mean, on your program with Joe Rupe, who, by the way, is an amazing host. I mean, I'm so glad that Joe Rupe could be a part of Spaced Out Radio.
He is
fantastic. He's amazing.
He is.
I mean, his voice. I mean, and he's smart. I mean, that guy is smart as. I mean, he nails it all the time and asks the great questions. And the great thing about Joe, you know, he's not googly-eyed by celebrities. Where even when he's talking to somebody like that, he still gives respect to people like me. When those people don't, you know, because I'm just, you know, some Looney Tunes guy who goes out and stares at the stars, even though these people tell me that UFOs exist and I'm out there to look for UFOs. So I go out and look in the sky where people say UFOs are, but I guess that makes me crazy, you know? So it was very.
So there you go. Tim Doyle himself. That guy's got a brain, right? But he knows I'm from the South. He knows I'm not grammar correct all the time. You know, I don't even name things right. Well, it's like, I'm telling you, the people that bother me the most, it's really not grammar Nazis. I call them contrarians. A contrarian is somebody that just can't wait to tell you you're wrong. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. It's like they're sitting on the edge of their seat to tell you you're wrong about everything. Or to make you think that your thoughts don't hold value. Because you got a different way of thinking. So there's a thing there where Tim Doyle is using Stephen Bassett as a guy I interviewed on Spaced Out Saturday. He's using Stephen Bassett as an example of what he feels is a little of what's wrong with the UFO community, right? But he also gave me a respect because I don't judge people because someone else says that they're wrong. Even if Tim Doyle says, "No, this guy's wrong." I want to talk to Stephen Bassett myself. I want you guys to talk to him with me. Let's figure out who Stephen Bassett is. And I got to tell you, yes, he admitted his own political views and his own agendas. He did. And there were some things that in there that, came out that I was like, wow, stuff's really going on. But all in all, I think the guy's doing good work, just like I think Tim's doing good work. But Tim's got some valid points. He's not the most popular guy right now because he's all about telling the truth. That's the thing about it. And he's 100% on the mark that these new hosts and radio show hosts are doing things to promote products. It's not about finding out about the truth anymore. It's about promoting events, products, whatever you can sell, stuff like that. And we got to get away from that. And I'm surprised when I talked to Stephen. I had a great time talking to him. And just like Tobias, he offers a service I think is valuable. And we're going to get him on. I hope we get him on because I haven't invited him into the room yet because the computer just started. But so it might take a little bit of an early break here. But, yeah, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. Also, sign up for the chat room. Follow, like, subscribe, everything Lighting the Void. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube is getting, I just use it for archives, I guess you could say. It's almost at 1,000 subscribers. So if you like the show, you listen to the show, you just give it a subscribe. And the reason why, because if I get to 1,000 subscribers over there, then I can change the URL to Lighting the Void, which will help tremendously. But I want to give Craig a shout out. I want to give T-Bone a shout-out from the Grimerica chat room. I want to give David J. a shout-out. I want to give Catalina a big shout-out. Eric Markham a big shout-out. Dennis, all you people that support me 100% and support the network 100%, and all of you that are listening, a big shout-out. Because we got a long ways to go from here, and there's some big stuff coming. But I think we've really, truly turned the corner. I've said that a few times, but I really think we have at this moment. And, I don't want to go down that road anymore. I feel like I start gloating again. But it's okay to gloat. If you think that it's bad to get attention, that's wrong. The whole idea of, you just want attention. You were taught that that's wrong. It's not wrong to get attention. It's not wrong to brag about yourself. It's not wrong to like who you are and shout out to the universe that you're happy about it. So remember that. I'm going to go try to find Tobias, and we're going to have a pretty deep conversation. You guys don't go anywhere. I promise. Once I get him on the line, it's going to be awesome. We'll be right back.
dennett.weebly.com, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
This is Reverend John M. Polk from johnpolkmedia.com, and you can listen to my show, The Quantum Hologram Matrix, every Thursday night. ETs, UFOs, metaphysics, the paranormal, and more are some of the many topics we will cover on The Quantum Hologram Matrix. Make sure you bring your higher concentric multidimensional selves. That's every Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on The Fringe FM.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Oh, you know what I like about me? This is Rich Giordano, host of the Paranormal Code. No, I'm serious. The show's on twice a week now, Sunday and Thursday, on thefringe.fm and Spreaker, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Yeah, it's 2 hours. It's live. And I do a show like you've never heard before. So you're going to come here, you're going to get your information, you're going to be entertained. But you're also going to hear the truth like, you won't forget. Like you've never heard before. And for those of you who've been following, thank you. Thank you for talking me into this extra night. Now I'm on twice. Great. Hey, good for you, right? The Paranormal Code. This means something.
Do you find yourself bored and longing to learn more about the mysteries and conspiracies behind our reality? Specifically, every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific? What a coincidence, because that's exactly when me, Gigi, and my lovely co-host Cortana kicked over the airways with just the right amount of intellectual stimulation to give you that eargasm of conversational excellence that you deserve. So be sure to check out our show, Shift Happens, every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific, that's 9 to 11 Central. And let's shake some talk radio tail feather, shall we? Right here on KTLK, The Fringe FM.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting, thefringe.fm, Napa Valley, California, Little Rock, Arkansas. Welcome back to Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Rupe. We are live on KTOK Digital Broadcasting, thefringe.fm. Great radio station. You guys should go check it out. It's everywhere on the web. We are here now with spiritual guide and counselor Tobias Lars. Now, he's been producing content online for over 8 years. He's got several downloadable courses from which I myself have purchased and enjoy very much. But they're very informative. But it helped me tap into my own energy and more. We're going to talk about that. And you're going to find quite a bit of stuff about that also on his YouTube channel, where he discusses our energetic nature, awareness, consciousness, how to tap into it. Not afraid to tackle any subject. Tobias also has a very no-nonsense and direct approach to spirituality that I find very effective. I remember last time he was on the show, I talked to you guys about the Heal Your Shadow video, which pretty much was one of the things that changed my life. It was a hard-hitting video that I understood what he was talking about. He's also the author of We're Not Listening to the Sun, Awakening Soul, and Shackled Gods Universe. So Tobias also discusses ancient history and finding our true selves and unlocking our sovereignty and power. You can check out his website at tobiaslars.com. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Tobias. It's been a long time since I talked to you.
Love it. Actually, yeah, I've been we just talked off the air, I've been in hibernation a little bit, and there's a right time for that. But so I don't know why, but yeah, I found you again. I think I was listening to a couple of your recent guests that I actually vibrate closely with, Jason Quitt and James Gilliland, and they popped up and you came across and I wrote you, and I guess it's time to come out of my cave a little bit. So here we go.
So yeah, let's talk about that. My biggest one here lately has been something that I'm forced. It's not like and it's always scared me, but health. You know, I talk about the 4 elements on this show, you know, earth, your health, and you know, all this money stuff, earthly stuff, and your intellect is air, and water is your emotions, and fire is your spirit and drive, and you kind of have to deal with them. But when you go through all this, what they call, I guess, the great work or whatever, through these initiative things, it feels like you're being put through a grinder. It's not cool sometimes in this awakening process. It's not all sunshine and roses.
I just did a video today. Let me see if I can get back to it. Anyway, somebody commented, and I'm being being really honest with it. I've been a yogi a bunch of lifetimes, you know, and if you're interested in the great work, alchemy of your soul, waking up, you know, awakening, you're going to be, the real thing is very different than, you know, weekend kind of, or dipping your toe in it. Nothing wrong with that. There's a right time, by the way, for everything. I wouldn't wish what's been going on for me the last year on anybody, right? And yet at the same time, I know, and I went through a dark night of the soul back when I was 29, in my first Saturn return. I'm not an astrologer. Sometimes if people get too into astrology, I call it astrology to mess with people. But of course it's true. And you'll find one of my videos calling Making Friends with Saturn, you know. Saturn is the 29 and a half, it takes 29 and a half years to go around the sun. So usually when you're 29 and a half, stuff's happening, boiling up. And then it happens, you know, and then the second one as well when you're like 58 or something. But I've been through the dark night of the soul. I thought I was floating last 10 years doing seminars, you know, working privately with people, soul counseling, excited, feeling the fire in my belly, the melted body. I'm like, I'm on my way. I'm ascending here, you know, right? And God was working with me, source, mother, father, whatever you want to call it, very much. I'd have super coincidences and magic, and people had experiences and all these manifestations. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're done. There's layers to it, you know? So I'm not suggesting anyone go looking for pain or trouble, you know? Don't look for trouble, that Elvis song, you know, looking for trouble. Don't do that. But it might find you. Or cleaning, cleansing, clearing, holing. The word healing means to become whole again. Holos, Greek, you know. And the real deal is that just wanting it all to be light, or I can chant my way to heaven, or, you know, whatever, right? Or if I can just meditate my way to oneness. There's a little more to the story. Every real master, even the ones that teach, like Yogananda is one of my teachers, Paramahansa Yogananda, they teach very sweetly. But behind the scenes, when the stuff starts getting real, you're going to be facing the crapola too, the darkness, you know, the dark parts of yourself, or the hidden, the denial, the old karma, sins. You know, sin is not a pejorative. It just means you missed the mark. An old archery term. But anyway, so yeah, this last year is teaching me another level of cracking open, you know, and health is one way that happens to us. If we're tough and have our stuff together, the body will not lie to you. Our bodies don't lie. Our emotional bodies don't lie, and our physical bodies don't lie to us. They're kind of like dogs, you know, or animals, or little kids, right? They don't lie to us. So you can't lie. Now, if your emotional body is so shoved down and we've shut it off, then you may not be listening to the emotional body, and then the deeper wake up comes in the physical body. And I will say a caveat right up front here. Look, none of it's real. You can be a vegan chanter and do it all perfect, and you can still die of cancer, okay?
Yeah.
That's a true story I'm telling right now. A woman that I know, her mother recently died of cancer, and she used to work for the first original natural foods company in America, Erewhon, Erewhon. I think they only have 1 or 2 stores left, like in LA or something. One of my teachers and friends was the first guy to work with Michio Kushi. Now, you can do it perfect. You can be they started organic foods in this country, 1960, whatever it was, right? And I know him. He's one of my best friends, teachers. We did stuff together.
They still got it. They still ended up with it.
But this woman who was a perfect follower of that, she's died of cancer. So that's something deeper. Your diet is important, but any way you place all your faith into anything is not going to work. You know? You still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just thinking about this because it's kind of scary, man.
I know. Well, the bottom line, it's all energy, right?
Right.
So the sun is the closest thing. Look at it. There's an ascended being. You want to talk to a master every day in the physical? There's the sun for you. Hello?
Gotcha.
That's literally an ascended master being that's tapped into all the other suns in our galaxy right now. They all commune. They're in communion. They're in oneness. Oneness.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, Tobias. The astrology, what used to be astronomy, but the movement of the planets and stuff, I think was a bigger thing back in the ancient times. Like, I hope the teachings aren't totally gone, like when they burned the library down or whatever. I was talking about that, but everybody thinks that it's sun worship and stuff because they got all these but it's really nature, like nature on higher cosmic levels that we're trying to understand, you know?
That's right. We can all agree that nature knows what she's doing. Pretty much, hey, if you leave nature alone, doesn't she kind of balance it out perfectly?
Right? Yeah.
So we're not worshiping the sun per se, but the information that is hidden in the quanta of light and all the photons that are streaming towards the earth, or we just get an infinitesimal part of the sun's light that hits the earth, right? It's a huge fireball, really, permanent, 5 billion years, pretty much eternity as far as we're concerned in the physical 3D. It has all the information. It literally has the codes for the DNA of every plant and every being on earth. And it has the activator in the form of sunlight. The sunlight activates the seeds or pulls them up and out and, keeps feeding their DNA to grow into a mulberry tree or whatever it is. And us too. So we're not worshiping the sun. The ancient Egyptians, when they're holding those white cakes of orme, orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements, the white gold. Imagine if you took gold and like popcorned it. That's what white gold is.
Oh, cool.
You with me? Like if you popcorn it, it's like it's a powder. How do you turn gold into a white powder? Well, now we're talking alchemy. That stuff is real. Those are the cakes of life, the bread of life that the Egyptians are holding up to the sun. Because they know the sun is the de facto default mechanism for the solar system. Hello, it's the solar system.
Right. It's everything. It is the life giver, the life bringer, right? Yeah. There's no life without the sun. So
in 8 minutes, if it shuts off right now in 8 minutes, we're all flash frozen.
Yeah, I played a video from an astronaut that was talking about how when they go into space, and when he first gets out of the space shuttle the first time, how he can feel the intense sear of the sun on his right leg, and then on the other side of his leg, it's colder than he's ever felt. And yet we don't get that here. This is perfectly designed to where it all kind of works and balances out. And You know, that's why I read a lot of Manly P. Hall and stuff, and they talk about like, you can read all these books. You can read my book. You can read this book, but go out in nature and start studying how this stuff works. And then you'll also see the fundamentals of it in all these books as well, like hidden beneath the letter, you know?
Yeah. So I'm back to basics. I spend time with the sun every day, and I do something called the Gayatri Mantra, and I've done that for a long time. It's an ancient Hindu Sanskrit, land of Mu, Lemuria, invocation that's just saying the information in the sun. Now, you can be devoted to it if you want. We tend to have devotional character, some humans. Or you can just be smart and scientific about it and say, let those sun rays feed my cells and my DNA and set it right. You know? That's the basic food right there, sunlight. And then there's air, and then there's, blue-green algae, right?
Right.
And, the basic vegan, vegetarian stuff. I'm just being a little radical about it is important. I'm upgrading my eating. I'm doing greens every day, wild greens now, because I'm in that space. Once you reach a place of oneness, this is why masters drive people nuts. Because they don't eat at all, or they eat whatever they want. It doesn't matter, because they're living beyond matter. They're living in light. And so, but on the way there, we have to obey the laws, and whatever helps, whatever helps. I'm doing some B12 at the moment. I'm taking a magnesium thing and some basics, ancient minerals to replenish my body.
You're okay, right?
You listen to whatever it tells you need at the moment, and that's the higher teaching, really.
But you're okay. You probably wouldn't tell us if you wasn't, though, but you're all right, right?
Oh, I died a couple times this last year, or certainly in between.
Oh, no.
And yeah, no. See, I don't scare people, but on the way to eternal life, at some point you have to take the test. Right.
This is freaky, man.
I know it's freaky. I know.
But it's real, though. It's stuff we need to talk about.
Don't worry. It's the beautiful thing, and this is what God's teaching me too. When I say God, I have no religious upbringing at all. I grew up in Sweden. I don't think I ever stepped inside a church ever until I was 18. But when God's source is teaching me compassion, like about my previous incarnation here, the last 10 years, has been a bit pushy, or like, come on, let's wake the bleep up, like you said,
Yeah.
And that has its time and right place. And I wasn't not working with spirit. I was. But now it's like, okay, you're graduating from junior high. The next step is going to be different, And nothing comes to us before we're ready. Even if we're being kamikaze, like let's say we do too much entheogens or LSD or push it, or too much Kundalini yoga or something, then the lesson is, hey, slow down. And you'll get some scary experiences to help you to slow down. So at this time on Earth, there's a big awakening going on for many souls. And the real deal is every teacher I know has had near-death experiences, and it's part of the deal. But don't worry, you don't have to take trigonometry until you're in 10th grade,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I just, it's, after talking to James Gilliland, and I've talked to a few other people about it, I was deep into astral travel and having out-of-body experiences, and so now I'm thinking, should I even be doing that stuff,
Follow your intuition. Don't be afraid. The only 2 out-of-body things I had happen. I'm a sophomore in college. I'm starting to read Tao Te Ching and Yogananda's autobiography, and one evening I would just rise up out of my body. I'm like, wow. Look, there's my body on the bed. And that only happened twice. And pretty much my own soul, or if we're not ready to hear from our own soul, then we have outside teachers helping us, right? Which I'm still there. I don't think I'm God or anything like that. I still need helpers and, masters to help me. And something said, that's enough of that. Now, that doesn't mean it's wrong for others to travel out of body a lot. I've got a friend who does it a lot. He travels out, watches the earth from above, and, he's out there in the fourth and fifth dimension.
Nice.
There's nothing, it depends. It's just what's feeling vibrating right to you, This push, the thing I'm learning now is it doesn't matter if I'm hanging out with my dog here. Gabby's laying right next to me and Allie's by my feet. If I'm doing dog consciousness at their level, or if I'm talking to someone at the store, about whatever, it doesn't matter. Spirit's teaching me it's not about any teaching in particular, but it's really about love, or respect, or offering space or respect for other souls, And so I'm getting a wake up that Spirit's basically telling me, Tobias, you're resigned from your mission. It's like we had a mission, a deep undercover mission, like the spy or something.
Yeah.
And then you come home to headquarters and they're like, okay, you're relieved of your duty. You're done.
Oh,
Job well done.
But then what? Then you're like, okay, I'm done. Now what?
Right. No, there's something new. There's new things coming. That's not a problem. Don't worry. The universe always has 10,000 things for you to do if you want to. And so I needed a hard knock because I thought I knew what I was doing. Right? As soon as you think you know stuff, the universe laughs. Right?
Right.
Until you're one with the universe, until you're an avatar, you're still learning. And there's many, many layers to that. So I got a big knock upside the head in a way that's scary, terrifying, still going on a little bit. I'm still dealing with it. But I'll tell you one. I actually had one of the spirits come to me, one of my teacher spirits. And the way this started to show up with me was in my medulla oblongata in the back of your head, right at the base of your skull.
You met one of them in like the inner realms?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. She showed up one night in our living room, and Joy was feeling it too. She's like, I have to lay down. Mother Goddess is here. And Joy is not a flaky New Age person. She grew up super Christian, super conservative, gun-toting Arizona. You know what I'm saying? And so she doesn't put on airs about that. She said, she's here in the room. And then I could feel this teacher that we work with and Mother Goddess. She said, Tobias, I'm going to take that pain away from you, but not permanently, because you've got something, it is teaching you something. But she proved to me within 3 minutes, she just removed it completely. And she's done that several times. You could say it's God. This is an aspect of God. And so even when we're going through health challenges or emotional challenges, these are our prods to awakening. They really are. And if you're going to learn about the light and the dark, I know it's almost like a good martial arts teacher lets the bad guy come at you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he watches. See how you do. If you get yourself in big trouble, he'll step in and save your butt, right? So the universe does that. It says, well, you're going to learn to swim. You got to fight some of your own battles here. And spiritual battles are real,
I'm just trying to think about what it is that you learned, because man, I've been watching your videos from way back, and I'm not trying to toot your horn or anything, but I've looked up to you as a person that's going down this road I'm going down, but you've been to places I've already been, and you're already there, and now you're saying it's like, okay, I've reached this new level, and it's everything I thought I knew. I don't know. I'm
process.
thinking, But, Thoth says that too, though. He says every time in one of the tablets I was reading, he said every time you think you understand something, you just go on to a bigger and greater understanding. It's unimaginable.
That's it. God's wiping me out. I mean, he's wiping it. You think you know all that? You don't know that, Tobias. But it's a rebirth. It's just any rebirth is like that. You, in a way, start over, But you don't lose. There is a much deeper smartness, like a wise as serpents, as Jesus calls it, and still gentle as doves, right?
Yeah.
So there's a wisdom that I needed. Instead of me, Mr. being Pollyanna, oh, come on, let's all go do ayahuasca together and ascend into heaven. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not how it works. And so God can't source, the universe can't make exceptions for us. We have to learn, And so sometimes we wonder, why do bad things happen to good people? Someone just wrote me on YouTube and asked that. And,
yeah, I've seen a few stories like that going around, actually. Maybe it's time. I guess everything, to me, it works in cycles from what I've seen. But another thing that I wanted to ask you about is people talk about feeling energy. I've had other people like Amalia, and Karis and other spirit guides say, hey, Joe, you're going to get an upgrade. Don't fight the energy. Let it in, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody's talking about this vibration and energy. I even heard Graham from Grimerica talking about he felt his chakras spinning. And I'm like, why can't I feel this? I do grounding stuff. I meditate. Am I just shutting it out? How do you feel this energy everybody talks about?
I used to feel with my teacher I alluded to, the guy who used to work with Erewhon Foods. When I first met him, he'd see spirits all over the place and he'd talk to them. And I knew it was real, And we were very lucky. We had masters come and talk to us. And he never channeled publicly or anything. But, Jesus showed up one day in the desert for us. And I felt that one. I just fell on the ground and crumbled like a little sobbing kid, that was too much. I couldn't hold myself together with that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But I always used to think also, Joe, just like that. I go, what's wrong with me? How come I can't see it? I can't feel it, because he'd see it all the time, or, he could feel the subtle energies. And then one day it just starts like I see them as lights now. But yeah, I know we feel like, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. It often means it's your own soul is safeguarding you from maybe getting enamored with things that would hook your attention, for example. Like you think this is important, like Reiki or something, or feeling the energy. When it comes to, Osho had a great saying on this the other day. Osho says it beautifully. I wonder if I could find it. But he basically says all this stuff with chakras and spirits and energy and all that. He says it much better than me. Let's see if I can dig it up. He says all those things, don't go looking for them. And he actually says they're very dangerous. If you are learning of them, if you're studying them, they can be dangerous. When they occur naturally, that's when it's the right time. When it comes to you, when it naturally flowers in you. Here it is, Osho, listen to this. All this so-called esoteric knowledge about chakras, energy fields, kundalini, astral bodies is dangerous as knowledge, mind knowledge. As experience, it's totally different thing. Don't acquire it as knowledge. I would add, don't even seek it. If it is needed for your spiritual growth, it will come to you in its right time, and then it will be an experience.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? So I would trust and abide in that. And you're doing it anyway, Joe. The thing that's going to happen is one day we just sort of realize, and it usually takes 100 or 1,000 times to remind ourselves, I've been feeling that all along. And the highest form of psychicism is not clairvoyance or clairaudience or, it's just knowing. just knowing, like that rings true.
Yeah.
That's the highest form.
Yeah.
So a lot of very advanced
time.
souls aren't messing around with like talking to spirits and doing all that stuff, you know.
If I hear a teaching, right, that, you know, I'm a big, I guess, fan of science too, because I love science. But when it comes to the spirit, there's teachings like books I've read, audio books, or when I like one of your videos I'll listen to. When I hear something, I know something's real when you can feel it. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's no way to prove it. It's not one of those things that you can, I guess, prove it with a scientific experiment or something, but you know.
It rings true. Yeah. It's something that rings true. So many souls that have been around the block, you've done spiritism many times and, you know, all that. And that's, but you can get lost in it, you know. So and we're here on Earth at this time, in my opinion, there's a big awakening happening. So, like with me, with the out-of-body experiences, like, oh, that's cool. That's enough of that. Right? my soul stepped in and said, you're not doing that. You know,
right.
We're not gonna get sidetracked. You know, and so it's not about. Yeah, God's showing me too. It's everyone at their own pace and at their own time. You know. And so it's a little bit of a softening of my teachings. Tolerance, and I'm learning for myself. Right. It's really humbling. It's really humiliating. It's humble humiliation. It's the same root word. To realize that we're just babies, you know, we're all simple. And
yeah, mine's tolerance. I have an issue with that. Like, you know, I'm one of those guys that like, hey, if you want something from me, if you don't like something I'm doing, tell me now. Don't play games with me 3 months or hint about it or do your little innuendos or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't stand that stuff. And
that's why I like you, because that's me. That's the old me.
I can't stand that stuff. And it drives more people away that I care about being that way. But I feel like I'm just being me from like outside to in. And that, why is it driving people away? You know, because it really is.
No, because the deceptive state, what a tangled web we weave when at first we practice to deceive. At a certain point, the soul goes, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be honest. You know, I just want what's real. Be real with me. That's progress. And then for me, what happened this last year, because I used to be like a truth monger, like, just tell me what you feel. Get real with me.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. And I even have the T-shirt that says "Get real to heal, motherfuckers."
Right.
Can I say that? I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
Well, we can if it happens every now and then. It doesn't. It doesn't. I expected you to say it at least once. That's what I like about you.
All right. And what Spirit's been teaching me this year is, Tobias, that's super scary for people. You know, for a lot of people to be real, you're like. They're like frozen like a deer in the headlights. If you get really real with them, it's too overwhelming. It's like, you know, and so for me, the training has been lately to allow deception or denial. Like, okay, they're telling me a story, but I'm not going to confront them. Sometimes that's loving.
I can't do that.
Now, if you're trespassing on my stuff, that's different.
It's hard. I can't sit there while they're bullshitting me.
I know. Believe you me, I relate so much to that. I bring my girlfriend here, she'll say, "Yep, that's true." I'd go, "Can I tell you something?" to her, and she'd go, "Oh no, now what are you going to talk about?" Right?
Yeah.
I'm the one. And so there's something beautiful about love. Like, what if God confronted us on all our stuff? You know what I mean? All the time. We'd be like wet pools in the corner. We couldn't even hold ourselves together, right?
Right.
So there's something compassionate about allowing the denial, even denial, not acting out like, you know, there's a time to step in, but allowing people to choose the level or not level of them being real or open or transparent, you know, or telling the truth to themselves or others. That's our free will choice. So that's really helping me lately to realized, oh, I love you, my girlfriend, my mother, whatever, friends.
So maybe I could do it from a different. So maybe I could do it from a different point of view. Like if I'll just give you an example. The other day I had a friend of mine was like, yeah, I really want to do this radio show. If I could just get a producer and then kind of him-hawing around, and my soul's telling me they want you to produce their show. Right. Mm-hmm. And instead of, I got in this combative thing, and he's like, man, what's wrong with you? Why are you being this way? Something's wrong with you. Mm. And I just wanted him to ask me, just ask me, do you want me? And instead of doing that, maybe I should have let him just talk, and then say, hey, are you asking me to produce your show? Because I'm getting that feeling.
There you go. But I hear you. When we have an agenda, even good agendas, good spiritual programming is the worst. Right?
Yeah.
Like things like, people should be honest with me. Well, that's going to tick me off all day long, because more than half the population, 80%, is going to be dishonest with me all the time. Right?
Right.
I know it's confusing, but...
No, I get it.
The road to hell is paved with those good intentions, people should be more awake than they are, My ex-wife was one of the first women to work with Byron Katie, who helps people. And she has this process where she goes, is that true? Any judgment you have of, and the good truths, like people should be nice, they should be honest, they shouldn't screw others over, they should be forthright. Those things will hurt you the most, because you're going to run into a bunch of people that aren't that way.
Yeah, man. That's why my dad's so miserable. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on it, because I'm like him now. I used to tell him, I'm not going to grow up like you, Pop. Right? Never. But I understand, because my dad is a good, honest man, but what an asshole. And the reason why he's that way, and he knows it, is because he's constantly let down. And I'm starting to understand now all the hell I put him through.
Yeah. People are going to, only God or whoever is a master that's moved farther than you or your same level is going to be able to deal with you the way is going to be able to match you. How about that? Right. Everyone else is going to just do their survival mechanisms, which is lie, deny until you die. A lot of it on Earth, right?
That's my story.
Lie, deny until you die, right?
Yeah.
Come on. And that used to drive me nuts. Now I'm just enjoying the show more. That's my upgrade. The old me was like, warrior on the horse, Don Quixote, Viking, pull the sword, let God sort him out, wipe the untruth out, get rid of that stuff. But that comes a time, it's like that old album way back in the 90s, Two Live Crew, As Nasty as They Want to Be or something. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, God showed me one day. He goes, remember that album, Tobias? As unconscious as they want to be. That's none of your business. That's free will. If they want to be unconscious, you don't have to go to bed with them. You don't have to live with them. You don't have to, be around them.
Right.
See it? And now everyone goes, well, how are we going to save the planet if we don't do that? Well, if enough of us pull out, pull away, and don't engage, bullies only feed on you if you engage with them. If we pulled all our power back, the Illuminati would fold like a wet paper napkin tomorrow.
You know what?
They only feed off our power that we give them. That's just how it works.
That's a good place to leave it, because I want to talk about that. We got to take a little break, guys. Going down deep with Tobias Lars. It's good stuff here. You guys stick around. We'll be right back.
This is David Oman with housesattheendofthedrive.com. You're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Hi, folks.
CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
At The Fringe FM, we value your opinion and we want to hear from you. Love a program? Got a future guest or show idea? Let us know. Email us at talkback@thefringe.fm or leave us your thought by calling 501-777-5631 or message our Facebook page at The Fringe FM.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Duval, Lon Malo Duquette, Aaron Sheik, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
This is Cortana from Shift Happens, telling you to pour a glass and park your ass because you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Shiftheads.
To Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Rupe. We're live on the Fringe.fm. Great programming. You guys need to check it out. Live shows. Even after this show, Spaced Out Radio comes on. We got more programming coming to you there as well. So it's a good station. If it's the first time listening and it's the first time you're ever listening live to the Fringe FM, stick around. You'll enjoy some more shows coming up. We got some other stuff coming up too. It's a little bit of satire. I think you're going to enjoy it. We're here with Tobias Lars, spiritual guide and counselor. And before we left the break, He mentioned the word Illuminati, and this is something that I don't want to talk about for an hour because there's so much more important things to talk about. But the fact that conspiracy is the market now. It is the market, like this paranormal field, this UFO thing, this spirit science thing used to be, to me, about wanting to find the truth. But now it seems like, well, let's just talk about conspiracy, even if it's true or not. It's the big thing. It's what everybody wants to talk about. And I get it. There's some responsibility to finding out what's going on around us. But at some point, it becomes intolerable to me, you know?
Yeah. I hear you. I have a video out. I did not coin this term. I think David Wilcock did. Fear porn, you know?
Right.
I think it was the first time I ever heard it from him. I don't know, a number of years ago. But I have a video somewhere on YouTube about fear porn. And yeah, and you notice, like, if I put stuff out on my Facebook page about chemtrails or the evils of Monsanto or the horrible Rothschilds or the Draco reptilian and the overlords and so forth, if I put out negative stuff, I get a lot more activity on that post.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're right. It sells. It's no different than if it bleeds, it leads, right? For the evening news, right? It's and that's just the way it is. It's not necessarily bad because that is how we first wake up. We first wake up by being outraged, pissed off, triggered, you know?
Yeah.
And so it has its place. Like if someone says, well, you know those streaks in the sky, you're being sprayed with like strontium and barium and human plasma to kill you off. Now, for the right people, that'll trigger them into finding out about it. Others will just go, you're a lunatic, you know, and go put your tinfoil hat on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so there's there's a right time to wake up to be angry at it. And then there's a right time to disengage from it in the sense of you notice it, but you don't fixate on it, you know? You feed what you pay attention to.
Right.
So one of the oldest tricks in the book, I think the second biggest video on YouTube, I think, is the oldest soul trapping game.
Yep, I remember that video.
Yeah, where I talk about that. So, and this doesn't mean we all become pacifists and sit and, you know, navel gazing. No, someone needs to put the sword to them, right, at the right time.
Absolutely.
I've done that in many lifetimes. Viking, Roman soldiers, pirates, all that stuff. And so sometimes there is a higher battle. When Jesus fights, he's much more efficient and effective than fighting it on a lower level. And you don't really fight it. You actually sort of transmute it with presence, with love, with consciousness. And but yeah, it sells currently, and it needs to, because the awakening first happens through being outraged. You know, look at all the look how much anger is there. I mean, people are freaking out, being angry at politicians. There's a dead end game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's and it's also a lot easier. What's easier? You know, it's like that cartoon. Here's two lines. One sign says, there's like two little booths. One booth says, tricks and one weird trick on how to blame all your sins on everybody else. Right?
The devil first and foremost.
Yeah, the devil's manning the booth. And it's like a line out the door. And then the other booth has a sign that says, how to take self-responsibility and heal yourself. And there's like two people in that line. Right?
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me, and I'm angry about it too. I still talk about it, but there's a little bit of deception going on. I guess I'm kind of angry that it's become a market, you know, and everybody's trying to save the world on the internet. And I'm thinking that's Manly P. Hall said it best in What the Ancient Wisdom Expects from Its Disciples. Like, that's great. You're trying to save the world from the internet to the internet. And it's kind of hypocritical for me to even talk about this, but what are you doing as far as your life? Are you leading a good example in your life? Are you a good person when people talk about you in your community? Like, are you helping them people? What are you doing? You know?
And it doesn't mean you have to run out and do service either. Sometimes the greatest service is for you to be quiet for a while and just do the inner work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it tells you to do something in the outer world, the universe will back it. God will be behind it. But yeah, exactly. You know, all of us out there scapegoating and finding, you know, if you string up the Rothschilds and skin them alive in Hyde Park, you know, big deal. It's not going to change anything. Except you make it worse, to be honest with you, because you're just acting out scapegoatism, you know.
Yeah, one video I saw on YouTube was a Coast to Coast AM video where the news was, they were doing a thing on Coast to Coast AM about this big show that George Norrie was hosting and how many people listened to it, you know, and the news guy asked him, he said, why do you think, George, that so many people listen to Coast AM at night? And his first and foremost answer was, well, I know that someone's lying to us about something. We're being lied to on a massive scale. And and it's deeper than any of us can imagine. And that, right, it's like that triggers everybody. Just that, you know?
So that's not bad. That's a good hook.
Right.
It's like what masters used to say, or, you know, like, they'd say, I'll give you the shiny, I'll give you what you think you want. And then you realize that's not satisfying. At a certain point on the journey, you need to be outraged and pissed off at first, you know, whether that's you waking up through vaccines or, you know, seeing about that, or you're being lied to about the Fed or about the secret space program or health or, you know, whatever it is, power, political shenanigans, whatever it is that your entree point into the greater awakening, it's fine, you know, get pissed. The truth, what's that saying? The truth will set you free, but first it will really, really, really piss you off. Right?
Got that right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at a certain point you stop, let yourself be triggered by, be outraged. The word outrage means to get your rage out. Get your rage out. But there's conscious outrage. See, denial monsters can only feed on you if you have denial, right? That's their food. So the way you do that is you get you to swallow the lies, and then you hold it inside you. But if you can start expressing it, that's why the truth, telling the truth, is really hopeful at this point. And then once we all realize the truth about whatever, chemtrails, like I said, all the litany of stuff, the Fed and the money, the fake money, secret space programs, all that, then we're like, okay, what can I do about it? Well, what you can do, you can work in the outer world. But let me tell you, I have a t-shirt that says 1,000 Buddhas and this thing's over.
Right.
1,000 awake Buddhas on earth and the whole thing's over. So if we could get 1,000 of us to actually become Christs or Buddhas or awakened humans, that's enough of a morphic field to detonate the whole thing. Goodbye. There's nothing that can survive here that could be doing evil shit.
Right.
So, but the biggest trick the devil gets, or the bully, is to get you to spend time thinking about him and fighting him all the time.
Yeah, I see that.
The devil's not a bad guy, by the way.
Well, you know, I kind of understand that the devil has a purpose. There's a GnosticTeachings.org website where they do that. They talk about Samael, and the Jews think this guy's the most evil thing ever, but here he is spilling out all of this knowledge, right? And he's like, look, I'm just doing my program. This is my program. Sorry about it. But here's some wisdom, and I'm telling you the truth, you know?
Jesus and the devil are working it together. There's good cop, bad cop. That's my story. That's my opinion.
Well, they both call themselves the Morning Star in the book.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, even Bill Cooper didn't understand that. He's like, I don't understand that, but I can tell you the truth about everything else. And I'm like, well, what does this mean? You know,
that's a good example of Bill Cooper right here in Egar, Arizona, which I used to drive through a lot because we go to the wolf adventure. We take people to go see these wolves in New Mexico. My friend has a sanctuary there. And someone like Bill Cooper, they're just a good example. God bless him. God rest his soul. Here you are telling all this truth, but unless you're seeing the bigger picture that we need the villains or they're a reflection of our own denial, I joke with people. I go, Saint Mick Jagger, sympathy for the devil. After all, who killed the Kennedys? It was you and I. Why?
Right.
Why did you and I, why did the collective kill the Kennedys or Martin Luther King or John Lennon or pick whoever you want, Gandhi? Because we're in collective denial. So the zeitgeist, the monster, the collective unconscious will rise up and worship celebrities. God bless Elvis, right? And it'll also kill them, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like this unconscious beast, you know? The unconscious, the collective unconscious, Jesus didn't even survive that one. Oh, he did it on purpose. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
That's the biggest fight I've ever got into with somebody is I blamed the human race on Hitler, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
Absolutely.
well, how can the human race, how can that even be true? I'm like, it's the old cause and effect thing. How do you think he got all these masses to follow him? You know, he was feeling some kind of void that was there.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. And so my interest is recognize, quote, the evil shenanigans or whatever, right? But don't fixate on them. If you fixate on them, it's like in the way it works in the universe, in the 4th, 5, 6D, if you focus on something, you start traveling towards it. The more you focus on it, you're going light speed towards that thing, right? So notice it, but don't engage with it. You know, you can't win fighting the Hydra. You know, it grows 2 more heads if you chop one off. But so there is a way to learn to, don't trespass on me. You have no right to be in me or trespass on my stuff. And sometimes that involves hard measures. You know, like what part of no don't you understand, right?
I've heard that before.
Yeah. And so a lot of spiritual teachers, God bless us all, or spiritual people are, oh, it's all good. It's all light, you know, let's all love each other. Well, sometimes you need to put up a hard wall, like, no, you're not going in here. And that's not loving. We should invite everybody. No, you shouldn't. You're having a party at your house, you know, for some personal occasion. You don't let everybody in off the street. Why? They're going to destroy your house. So that's something that the sweetheart, the good-hearted people need to learn. And then the heartless people need to learn to have compassion. There's different ways people need to balance, you know. So I know we can trust Source, God, knows what it's doing. Its reflection is nature, star systems. It's very, very wise. Until you can design an eyeball, you know, hello, you're not God. You know what I mean?
Right. Is there a, so just to wrap this up, when you hear the word Illuminati, what does that make you think of?
Well, I've met Saint Germain.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is he really still alive?
Yes, but I don't think he has a permanent physical body at this time.
Wow.
But he's certainly still around the Earth sphere very, very much. I don't know if I can even say this. See, gets me in trouble in the
I don't
past.
even know if I can make this video, you know? Like, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I know.
You don't have to say it. It's cool enough to hear that you know that Saint Germain exists.
Yeah, so the Illuminati originally were meant for good. They were actually illumined, secret teachings, you know, that we're not quite ready for the public yet. You don't give flamethrowers to your 3-year-olds, and then go out to dinner. You don't do that, right? So if you gave all these powers to people before they're ready, or we can't even have free energy quite yet on the planet. If people are just going to cut down all the trees or run their ATVs all over nature, if they have free energy, that's not such a good idea.
Right.
So the Illuminati was meant to be by invitation only to begin with, and then they got seduced by power, by money and power and control and running the masses and so forth. And so that's what happens,
That's how I feel about all the old secret societies that everybody's demonizing. Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, like every book I've ever picked up by these guys, even Eliphas Levi, magic books, it's all been a spiritual thing. It's all, there's black magic and stuff, but everybody kind of knows what that is. So why are we pointing our fingers at these guys? All they were trying to do is change the world. And then you hear, no, they were trying to start a world government. Well, let me ask you this question. If everybody on the earth got along and we all treated each other right, would that be so bad?
Yeah. I had a vision one day. Did I tell this one? Okay. With David Rockefeller before he passed away. I went to visit him in the spirit world. And and I was like, why do you want to control everybody? What's the deal? Right?
Yeah.
And he was feeling like a great uncle to me. And you got to understand, I'm a total rebel, for all that stuff. And I was fighting it for years and years and years. And I said, why do you have to control everybody and play the politician game and, pretend to, have Democrats and Republicans and own both sides? And why do you do all that? And he just treated me like I was his young son or uncle, nephew or something. He said, Tobias, we can't actually, you got to understand, these guys are really damaged people, most of them. And we can't actually let them have any real power. Right.
That sounds terrible, but what if he's right?
Well, part of me had to agree with him when I looked at Bill Clinton and George Bush Jr. You know what I'm saying? I go, I get it. I have to agree with that. Someone's got to make sure the ship doesn't sink altogether. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is horrible. So they don't want to do it either, I mean, a real and there's some that are just, they're bootlickers. The bootlickers are the ones you got to watch out for, right?
Oh, yeah.
The ones that will kiss their ass for anything. And
order takers.
All that energy is going to go off the planet. The real, the Draco thing, the reptilian control, the ancient dragon that Jesus talks about us fighting. Don't worry, you do your part, which is to heal yourself. Heal yourself. And then when Spirit tells you, like David Icke, hello, he's doing his job. He's already been done. The whole conspiracy, he's pretty much done that pretty well the last 30 years, exposing all that stuff. It's all turning out to be true, right? In my opinion. So unless you're called to that job, don't all jump on the bandwagon and think you're some big expose the Illuminati thing. You're going to waste your time and lose your own soul.
Right.
Unless it's your job, right? So you do part of it. You do both. You do expose it, but then focus on the healing. Expose it, but then focus on the, what can we have free energy? How can we develop healthy bodies? How can the medical system change? Joy and I just went to visit a guy today out in Scottsdale who's created this beautiful new line of cannabinoid oils and pastes and all kinds, and he's going to do it right. And he's really doing the research, like the primo stuff. And it was beautiful. We had an awesome talk with him. He's a construction guy, developer. He's made a pile of money, and he feels led to do this now. It's really interesting. So that's all coming. So focus on that, focus on where the healing lies, and don't go down with the ship. Don't go down when the old controllers are going off the planet. If you're too attached to them, you're going to go with them. I don't want to go wherever they're going. I'm not going there.
Yeah, I just I'm having a hard time with this reptilian, blue avian secret space program thing. I just have Tobias, I have a hard time with it, man. You know, it's like,
how do you mean? What's hard?
Well, it's like, okay, I like science too, and I know you can't prove. I can't prove that I went out of body scientifically. I'm not going to try to. But when you got masses of people following this story and buying into it, and you see what I mean? At some point, you've got to be responsible for that. Now, when I see that, when I see masses of people, like when I see masses of people listening to you and you talk about spirituality and stuff, it doesn't bother me a bit because I know what's coming out of your mouth is from your heart at the very least. I can tell it, right?
Well, that's sweet to say.
But it's the truth. Some of this other stuff, though, when I say, well, can you verify this? Because if you can verify this, this would be one of the biggest things ever, you know? And all we ever get is, well, I've got an insider.
Yeah, I hear that.
And I'm like, come on. You know, it's hard. Maybe I have two sides of my brain. You know, my right brain is just, I feel like, accepts just about any story because it could be true. Anything's possible. I've had some great, wild experiences. But then the other one is like, you're talking to me about blue chickens and stuff in space.
Right on.
You know?
Remember how David Icke would be protected when he talked about the reptilian? I think it saved his life, to be honest, because then people could reject him because he was telling some hard truths. So when he then said the Queen of England is a lizard, then everybody goes, okay, you're over the top.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
Right. So that actually saves your butt in a way because it sounds so far-fetched. It's like a backdoor way to start getting the truth in there, but it's dismissible enough that you're not trespassing on others' free will.
Yeah, I'm not going to dismiss it though, because if it's true, like I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. It's not one of those things that I'm going to accept without knowing. You know, like I don't, when you talk about the Kundalini, when you talk about the spiritual awakening, all these different realms and you're meeting your inner masters and I know that's real. I don't care if anybody believes me, you know, I know that's real. This other stuff, if it is real, I want to know. It's not that I want to disprove it, right? Yeah. But I want to know.
I hear you. So then we ask the universe, you know, show me what's real about this and not. And then and sometimes it's a red light, sometimes a green light, and sometimes it's a yellow light. I don't know.
Maybe I'm not supposed to know. Maybe. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
At its own time, you know, it'll come out. But yeah, I hesitate to say anything about that. My own experiences, 2 UFO sightings, you know, during the day that I recall. Mm-hmm. And one of them was definitely the Pleiadian or Nordic family, if you will. But I also know there's entities that are working the other side, that they're really here, you know, interested in stealing our energy or living off our energies. And it's a bit of a battle. And in the meantime, most people on Earth may never know. Feel this one. This is for me lately. Let's say all this behind the scenes cabal clean out, right? Let's say that all happens. And the majority of people, 80% of people are like, oh, things got better. But they never know anything about what went on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That could happen. So it's only those of us interested in whatever level of, you know, the lie is different at every level or the truth is different at every level. And I think that's a beautiful organization of the universe that my dogs here, they will never learn trigonometry, you know. They're not interested.
No, but they're good dogs.
But they're awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
So just because you have a human body doesn't mean, see, one of the things, now I'm going to step on a little bit of dangerous ground with, when we have Saint Germain, who, by the way, helped the guys in Constitution Hall when they were doing the Declaration of Independence. He got them all to buck up and sign the thing, actually. I think Manly P. Hall talks about that, doesn't he?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. That we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. All women, all people are created equal. That's true. We're all made from the same stuff. God's source. This is my what I would suggest. But we're not all the same, you know. Some humans are really just starting the human journey, and others are almost done with it. They're ready to move on to 4 or 5D and be awakened, you know, Christ.
Right.
That's very different. Just because you have a human body doesn't mean you're the same level of evolution. It's just not true. So that's a half truth that messes people up, you know.
Well, sometimes I wonder, like, say, let's take David Wilcock, for example. He was, when he first started talking about, and still to this day, he talks about stuff that I know are true, like biogeometry, you know, the pyramid thing. A lot of things he talks about is true, but sometimes I wonder, like, if he's being taken for a ride on some of this other stuff, because he's not a dumb guy, you know.
And
I
hear that. I've had that thought that Corey Good is a plant to get David off track.
Well, not just Corey Good, but maybe somebody's messing with Corey.
I agree.
You see what I mean?
And then another part of me is I love David's heart. I can feel their energies and they feel real to me. But yeah, I think it's good to, you don't always have to draw conclusions.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Yeah. But I want to know, you see, because if they are right, oh man, like this rabbit hole is super deep.
I think we'll know pretty soon. The next couple of years, we're going to have some secrets. If the secret space program is real, it's going to start bleeding through even more, I think.
This thing with ETs, though, I've never met one, but when I talk to someone like you that, you know, that I find highly spiritual people, when they've had these experiences, don't really want to talk about it. And I still don't understand. I guess I kind of understand it. But even Daniel Joseph, you know, the student of Daskalos, who I had on the show, and I asked him, I said, have you ever met an ET or someone off this world? And he got real quiet. Like, I could tell he did not want me to, he didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, well, yeah, I have, but I really don't want to talk about it. And I was like, oh, you know, I promise, Daniel, I won't anymore. But it would, to me, hearing him say that, it made me think about how deep this rabbit hole goes and the effect of it. I see what he said. I can see what he's talking about now. Because now, instead of worrying about the spiritual stuff he's talking about, I'm thinking about how many different alien races there are.
Right. Well, there's a bunch of them, as far as I know, and that makes sense to me. I think we are in the process of waking up to the galactic family, and a lot of us on Earth, about 15%, we've lived on other solar systems, or, you know, this is not our only planetary system that we're a part of. Many of us as souls have, I've had a direct experience. I can speak of my direct experience now. A few years ago, I'm laying in bed in Sedona at night. And all of a sudden, I'm awake in another body. I'm another person. And the closest thing my earth mind can describe it as is it looks like that's a shiny hovercraft thing, you know, and that's a wooden house. And then it feels like German. It's like a Mercedes, you know, but it's hover Mercedes or something. And this beautiful wooden kind of modern architecture and a big forest around it. And I realized, no, that's just, I'm translating it to Earth, but it's on another planet. And I have a wife and I've got 2 kids, and I'm literally there in that body. I'm there. That's me. And then I kind of wake up back here in the USA, and Joy's next to me, and I kind of grab her and go, hey, I'm having this experience. And for about the next 10 minutes, I could go back and forth. I was in both places at once. It was really cool. So that was proved to me that, and I know I have more existences than that, but that my soul has expressions or forays, or, you know, into different places where I'm living lives. And so that makes total sense to me. I've had friends who've seen themselves, you know, like, that's me over there across the canyon, across the ravine. That's another part of me. I've talked to my future self once, came and talked to me, which was really trippy. And I didn't realize it till later. he was talking through a friend of mine who was channeling me. It was my soul going through him. This was years ago, 25 years ago.
Oh.
And I go to this being talking to me. He's giving me really, like, just feels really nice and sweet. And I go, who are you? You feel incredibly familiar, right? And I couldn't figure it out. Later in meditation, I got it. I was talking to myself, right? My future self, my awakened self, the self that was still connected fully with God and saw the big picture. Maybe you could say my soul or something. But it was really cool. And then looking back at the exchange we had, it made total sense. It was like me looking back on myself while I'm going through struggle here, you know. And from his point of view, there's no problems because he sees the big picture. And then while we're here, there's real struggle. And that's one thing this last year has really taught me. It's like I'm getting a lot more compassionate instead of me being short with people going, oh, come on, it's not that big a deal. You just wake up, you don't die, blah, blah. That's a little too harsh. I was at the grocery store the other day and there was a lady who fainted. She was sitting on they brought her a chair or something and her husband was there. And I don't know what she was feeling, but I could just feel my heart being just compassionate, you know, like for the human experience. And so lately that's my upgrade going on. That, I mean, it sounds trite, but
no. So you're at this. Watch, I got a long ways to go before I get there, but you're at this tolerance, compassion, understanding.
Not perfect at it yet, not at all. But yeah, a little more like, okay, it's a human experience and it's pretty intense at times, and death and cancer and nastiness and fighting and divorces and, you know, all that.
Yeah.
And it's harsh. It's harsh, man. And yeah, it just,
it's a solo journey. It sure feels that way. I mean, I got to be true to myself, you know, and I'll make a good friend or a date a girl or whatever. And I feel like I'll never stop being true to myself, but it ends up, I still think in the end, it's a solo journey, no matter what relationship you have, as long as you're in this plane, you know?
Yeah, except the God source, or like in this case, when I talked to my future self that was awakened or, you know, merged back with God, or always was, since there's no time space there. That part you can always count on.
Yeah.
But maybe, so some teachers will say the only way you learn to find the one thing that you can count on, which is your own higher self or God inside yourself, is by having everything else betray you or fall short or turn on your, you know, whatever. And it's kind of the Buddhist thing, right? It's all dukkha. Even the word dukkha sounds like crap, right? Dukkha.
What does that mean? I've never heard that.
Dukkha is, it's all dukkha, meaning it's all fallen. The world will disappoint you. Everything will go ashes to ashes. It all fades away. It's Johnny Cash in that last video he made. Yeah. My empire of dirt. You know, so he's sitting there in his museum, right? That's falling apart. And yeah, so it'll all betray you. In a way, it's corralling you back towards your own heart, your own center, the place beyond space-time that you exist. And
but do you think life is a bad thing, though, Tobias?
No, see, yeah, I hear the question.
You know, I've read some Gnostic books. I've had other people, like, you know, you talk about these different 4D, 5D realms, and they're looked upon as a greater and higher place. But sometimes I think, like, and I've talked about this frequently recently, I think life is, why are we treating it as it's not one of the greatest things in the universe, physical existence?
Exactly. No, my thing has been for a long time, we will re-heal 3D. You understand? 3D will be part of the seventh, whatever dimensions, if you want to make it up, 7 dimensions.
Yeah.
And it will be just as awake, just as blissful. In fact, maybe even more so. Exactly. This is the last place that we need to wake up, right? And yeah, bodies are beautiful. Who created sex? I mean, holy cow,
yeah,
right? Where'd that come from?
Right.
Wow. And so the whole idea of that we have to deny ourselves those things might have a place, like in my book, Listening to the Sun. It's on Amazon if anyone's interested. I have a chapter in there called Desire is Good. Desire is God. I spell it G-O-O and then parentheses O. Desire is God. Going against the whole Buddhist teaching, which is like desire is the
bad, right? That's what kills you.
And all that stuff. But see, there's truth to it. Depending on where you're looking from, masters, like lately I'm wanting to talk to Krishna. Krishna was the last, as far as I can tell, being that was not only a human king, basically wrote the Kama Sutra. He had all the sex you could ever imagine. 3,000 gopis, milkmaids. What were they doing in the forest? Hello, right? Get real. And then he's a king. He's a wise avatar. He's a super guru. He's everything. Solomon tried it, but he couldn't do it. Krishna did it. It's real. They found a city now off the northwest coast of India.
Do you ever wonder why Solomon, like what his biggest failure was? Everybody says, oh, it's because he ran off and worshiped this other god with this chick. And I'm thinking, yeah, but wasn't he the wisest?
Who wrote that, though?
Right.
Yeah, the Jews wrote that, right?
Exactly.
That's what they're going to say, right?
Yeah.
It's whoever's writing the history. You got to see where they're writing it from. Yeah. But, and then King Arthur, in my opinion, is the same replay where we try to, and Jesus was too, actually. Why were they all worried about him being a king? If he was just come to be some crazy rabbi walking around the hills, why would King Herod freak out about some prophecy about him being the king? He was meant to be a physical king also. It's the same pattern. But Krishna was the last one that actually pulled it off. Jesus didn't. He didn't get to be king. King Arthur was for a little bit, but it all fell apart. It's the same story. Merlin is Joseph of Arimathea. It's the same beings. They're replaying it. And so Krishna to me is interesting because he fully embraced. In a vision, he came once to me, but I couldn't get his attention. I can't get him to
Was
talk.
he blue?
He was light blue.
There's the blue beings right there.
He was a total party boy. He came in and there's all these other masters sitting around. Shiva's there, Ganesha's there, the Hindu pantheon. And Krishna comes sliding into the middle of the room like party boy. You get it? Right. He's just like full of it, right? It's like Elvis mixed with, total rock and roll or, just that energy. And so, yeah, Krishna embodies and then it's weird that the Hare Krishnas are all celibate and vegan and all that, you know what I mean? But that's not what Krishna was. See, that's why it's so confusing because the actual avatars, it doesn't matter what they do. Do they want to have sex for 3,000 years? That's fine. There's no abstention needed. You know what I'm saying? Explore all of it. I think the Kama Sutra was written from Krishna,
Yeah, but they weren't worried about, were they worried about like all of the STDs that we got nowadays? I mean, I know we're getting kind of crazy here, but I'm just
with
wondering.
enough zapping of Jesus and Mary Magdalene have no problem with that stuff. Their energy is so high.
They zap it.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
Like when your immune system is strong enough with oxygen and electric energies, nothing that those bacteria they don't flourish. They might be there in dormancy, but no. So I'm not promoting promiscuity at all. I was watching Thich Nhat Hanh the other day. He's the Buddhist monk, and they're all celibate and shave their heads and all that stuff. But my personal opinion is, and what I'm interested in this lifetime is more inclusive. Let's be human. Let's have kids. Let's have, get-togethers. Let's have sex. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a beer or a drink or whatever,
The human experience.
And the human experience is meant to be sacred and beautiful, and that's my hope still. But if you put it first, if you put the cart before the horse, it's like trying to play guitar and you're getting feedback. If you feed the humbuckers right into to the speaker, it's going to feed on itself and it'll blow the whole circuit. So if you put the material creation first, it doesn't work. But if you put whatever created the atoms, what created atoms? What created skin? What created brain cells? What created plants? What created dogs? What created bodies? Whatever that is, if you hold that first, then you are completely free to move about the universe and enjoy all of it. That's how I see it.
Cosmic, natural stuff, the fundamentals of it all.
Yeah. But if you get caught up in it, then it turns to dukkha, to crap, to shit, like the Buddhists say.
So it's a balancing act, another balancing act.
I think so. And I'm being taught that. I worshipped a little bit here too much. I'm on a mission to help people awaken. We have to save this planet. And God's like, settle down. You know,
I can shake all these people off this planet like fleas on a dog.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
I was going to say dog.
Right.
Exactly. So God is teaching me the harsh way. He's, saying, stop it. You're done. That's over for you. You may still help people, but I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm joking lately. I may be a gardener or a cook or something. I have no idea, but maybe not. But, it is still in my heart to share this message, but I want to share it with a different tone, less battle, like we said. No more. I don't want to fight. What you fight, you feed at a certain level, What you expose, you set free. What you fight, you feed. If you do it as a habit, Those people, that's why it's always like, the congressman who's fighting child, pedophilia. He's caught with his pants down, literally in his office, sexting, 12-year-old boys. Right?
That's happened a few times.
Yeah. Why? Because it's what Shakespeare says, methinks thou dost protest too much, right? Because that's our schizophrenic sense. So Tobias here running around, I got to wake up the planet. Well, are you neglecting the human experience here, Tobias? Do you need to just plant a garden? Maybe. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been hearing from the universe lately is just enjoy yourself, Tobias. Enjoy your body and
Ecclesiastes.
Enjoy yourself. And then that might be the biggest vibrational contribution you can do. And I've been such a renunciate, and, we dedicate ourselves to a cause, which is good. It has its right time. There's nothing wrong with what I've done the last 10 years. It's good stuff. And for the right people, the right time, it's perfect. But, we all evolve, to the next step for us. And that can be whatever.
Why do you think all these stories come out the same? The Egyptian story, the Krishna story, the Jesus story, Mithra, all of them have that same fundamental Christ consciousness story. Sometimes I wonder if they're just stories, or did they really happen, or both?
I think it is archetypal and reverberating, like the beautiful movie Gladiator, where he says, what we do here echoes in eternity, And so the pattern there of Horus, Mithras, Krishna, that Krishna is 6,000 BC,
Yeah.
And so those patterns of a awakened Adam, Christ, Christos, Krishna, heart, the son of the mother and the father, that's there reverberating so strongly that archetype embodies itself over and over again, is how I see it. And I do think it is the pattern man. I mean, Jesus never claimed himself as special, although it turns into that with the religions, and as I see it. But I'm the pattern. You can do this too. You need to accept your own sonship or daughtership of the source, and then take your rightful place. Not that it's an easy journey. Again,
so you think they all really happened?
Well,
really
I think
happened?
The story we hear about Jesus is different a little bit than actually happened. There's truths to it, and then there's embellishments and editing and all that stuff.
But
Horus, to me, Horus is real. I've met Horus. Horus showed up once. I was in a ceremony with my friend and my girlfriend and a couple other people in Hawaii, and this, my friend at the time, he'd come out of Christianity, like full on speaking in tongues and all that stuff. which was really healing for me because I thought those guys were hopelessly lost in religionism, but he was expanding beyond it. It was really beautiful.
Well, you know what got me asking that question was Lon Malo Duquette. He wrote a book about Solomonic magic, which I'm a huge fan of his. That people can say what they want about the OTO or whatever, but Lon's a great guy, you know.
Okay.
And
I don't know that much about that. I've just heard the names.
Right, but he wrote a book about that, and he said, you know, before I started down this road of Solomonic magic, I wanted to find evidence of the existence of Solomon. And he said there is absolutely zero physical evidence of this anywhere. Solomon, David, none of it. And I'm thinking, well, then, if that's the case, did they all get these stories after the Egyptians, or did the Egyptians get it after Krishna? Somewhere it was real. Because it feels real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Horus and Jesus feel real to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And, but maybe there are different clothing. I mean, at one point, it felt like to me that Jesus and Quetzalcoatl are the same being.
Mm-hmm.
Quetzalcoatl, you know, if you were the Christ or a Christ, if you're going to show up in the Central and South America, you're not going to show up as a Jewish guy, you know, with sandals.
Right.
They're going to go, hello. You're going to show up as their ultimate shaman, a flying feathered serpent, you know. I mean, hello, that takes both human and multiple forms, you know. That makes sense. That would be their ultimate master.
Fascinating to me, this story.
It would take whatever form is appropriate there, you know. But Horus showed up for us. My friend was saying, Tobias, there's some guy with a bird's head standing next to you.
Oh,
right?
That's
I saw him. There was a Horus, and he was there with a little assistant that was small, like our size, and Horus was like, you know, 20 feet tall or something. And I didn't say anything because I thought, well, it's just me. I don't want to, you know, that's my private experience. And then my friend Mark turned over and said, Tobias, and he had never heard of this because he's not into any of that. He didn't know anything about the Egyptian pantheon.
You both saw it, though.
He saw it. He says, there's a guy with a bird's head standing next to you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's freaking me out a little bit.
Well,
but he
cool.
felt good. He felt good. And it was just our expression at the time. We did the Egyptian thing. You know, we've done many different cultures on Earth. And at this time, for some of us, you know, we're into completing this journey to kind of ascend, or, you know, be able to not have the stairway to heaven be broken, you know, so that we consciously walk up and down the dimensions instead of this fall. You know, the last 3 rungs of the stairway are blown apart. And you know, you just drop and forget who you are.
We got Well, we got a couple minutes here left, and I don't want to cut you off, but can you tell everybody where to find you on the web? You know, what you got coming up? You got any webinars or events coming up, or whatever you want to shout out there? If
they're interested, the best thing is you go to YouTube, Tobias Lars, Lars, Tobias Lars. I think I have 200 videos there. They're free, and I'm starting back doing some. I do them really easy now. I don't do them fancy anymore. I just turn on the phone and do it live. I don't edit. I don't do any of that. Right. And you can find my books if you're interested. It's still selling pretty well. Listening to the Sun and Amazon, and I get a lot of good comments. People say that really helped me, activated me, and so forth. TobiasLars.com is where I have the awakening products that Spirit has shown me the last 20 years. The inner body awakening, the alchemy process, and the heart energy, which are still the ones I work with. And then we may start up the retreats again in Sedona or wherever. I might be in Florida this year, and you can go on the website, TobiasLars.com, and check it out. And
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you again,
Thank
man.
you, Joe.
It really has.
It goes fast every time, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people always like, you should do a 3-hour show or go on more nights a week. And I'm thinking, I'm like you. I'm riding the wave until it's time, you know?
Yeah, it's perfect for me right now. I think this is just about right. Wow. I appreciate you. And I don't beat yourself up about your own practice, but just ask the universe to show you something that you like doing, you know, like can be as simple as sitting outside a little bit and just sometimes, you know, just being in your own form of, no formal meditation, just being present, you know, or listening to things in your ear while you're sitting there feeling your inner body energies, you know. And yeah, don't beat yourself up on the process, you know, but find what feeds me. Show me something that would feed me that fits my current space. You know, you may not want to go do pretzel yoga. That's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you can just ask the universe, say, show me where I should do communion with you. And that feels good for me. And it's not a job. It's not a should. It's no guilt about it if I don't do it, you know, stuff like that.
Well, thank you again for coming on the show.
Love it.
Tobias Lars, everybody. Always a good conversation to have. Don't forget, tomorrow night we're going to be here with the Existence of Strange Things crew. Thank you for listening. The show is broadcasted by the Fringe FM. It cannot be rebroadcasted or syndicated without written permission. Music was by Chrono, Space Station, and Cassiopeia. See you tomorrow night.